We thank you for sharing some time with us again. Welcome in to the Aggie Town Hall. It's presented by CHI St. Joseph Health, the official healthcare provider of Texas A&M Athletics. I'm Mike Wright, along with the voice of the Aggies, Andrew Monaco, and from 12th Man Productions, Will Johnson. Our athletic director, Ross Bjork, joining us as always. Will, you're up for the first question for today's Aggie Town Hall.
Thank you, Mike. We're going to go back in time a little bit for this one because I remember this program that Rebecca, class of 2008 from San Antonio, is asking about. Ross, she wants to know, when she was a student, there was something called the 12th Man Team Rewards Program. You could collect stamps for every home game you went to across all sports excluding football, and every stamp collected earned increasingly cooler prizes, as she describes it. Rebecca misses that. Is there any chance we could bring it back?
Great question. And howdy, Rebecca, and thanks for submitting that question. You know, as I was making my rounds, late summer and early fall, I kept hearing about this program and people were talking about it. And we have something in the plans. When we hired Michael Thompson and brought him from Ole Miss, there's a platform out there. It's really a rewards program that's an app-based. People can have it on their phones. When you walk into a facility, there's sort of a beacon that syncs the app with you, being there in the beacon. So we have some initial plans. They may be on pause a little bit given our current COVID-19 situation, but we have some thoughts. We have some ideas. We want to launch, that type of activity hopefully here soon because it does have an impact on attendance. And, obviously football and baseball are going to have great attendance, but, we need to drive attendance in all of our sports and do everything in our power to market the program. So the app-based program is something that we have in mind. It's on the list, and hopefully here in the 6 to 12 months, maybe 18 months, we can launch it and get something like that back. But I think we can get away from like the punch cards and the old school. I think technology has come a long way. Great question, though.
Ross Taylor Ramrath, class of 2014, is in Sugar Land. Very impressed by your leadership and what you brought to Aggie Athletics. Can you share your personal leadership philosophy and maybe recommend a great book or two you've enjoyed on leadership?
I appreciate that, and thanks for the kind words. And as we've gone through this, we've always said there's no manual, for dealing with this. My personal leadership style is really about service. I've got this picture that I keep on my iPad it describes leadership, and it's a mountain, and it has a stick figure on the top of the mountain, and it says boss. And basically that person's looking down at everyone else, like good luck down there. And then on the side of the mountain, it shows leader, and the person's on their stomach and they're lifting people up. And it says leader. So to me, it's about service. It's about helping others. It's about sort of that greater good mentality. And so that's really the leadership style that I apply. And I said there's no manual, but we do read books, and I've got a few. I was able to prepare. So hopefully we can all see this. So here's one that I really like. It's called Extreme Ownership. It's on my iPad, so it's a little glare, but it's by a guy named Jocko Willink. He's a former Navy SEAL. I'm a big John Maxwell fan, and this one is a new one. This is his newest. It's called Leader Shift. So it's sort of shifting the mentality of leadership. We can't go anywhere without our faith, and this is a great one. It has so many practical lessons. I've actually pulled it out during all of this because it's got really practical stories in it. And then Coach Childress gave me this book back in the fall, and it's really about mental toughness. Every day you got to get up, chop wood, carry water, chop wood, carry water. And so those are just a few that come to mind. I tell you what, the guy to follow on leadership books is Buzz Williams. If you go to his Twitter feed, that guy is amazing. He's so efficient about his reading. And I've learned a lot just observing him and how he leads and how he reads as well. So thanks for that question.
Yeah, I want to dovetail on the Buzz comment, Ross. I mean, a lot of people wonder how Texas A&M did what they did, and coming off of those 10 wins that Andrew got to witness firsthand courtside, I don't think there's any doubt as to why they did what they did when Buzz has those guys with such buy-in. That's the key of a leader.
Well, you were courtside, Andrew. We all saw it firsthand, and really kind of turned the page. I think right before Christmas, with that Oregon State win, after really being probably the worst Power 5 team the first month of the season, and then to flip it. And I think the Ken Palm stat is amazing. Where going in, to conference play, we were not favored in any game at all, and to have 10 wins, I think we're the only team to do that since Ken Palm started recording. So pretty cool stuff that we were able to see there with Coach Williams.
All right, Max from the class of 2018 writes in from Houston and says, how can we work together to support the hundreds of what he refers to as the invisible Aggies who've been laid off and will be laid off until August or thereabouts? I'll add that.
Yeah, we discovered a great question. I appreciate you asking about that because, sometimes as time goes on, we forget about some of these initiatives that get started really early in any sort of crisis. There's a project out there called the Reach Project. They have a GoFundMe page, and it was designed specifically for this. GoFundMe, I think I looked it up this afternoon. They've raised about $49,000. And we've been able to promote it. Some of our student athletes have promoted it. The university has promoted it. So Reach Project, and they have a GoFundMe page. And really that's the best way that we've discovered how to support this particular group of staff members who serve A&M.
All right. Back to you, Will.
Ross, this comes from Karen. She wants to know, when will athletes be allowed to return and begin workouts, and is June a possibility?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, to me, anything's a possibility. We made headlines. We do know that people are watching this because last week we talked about a July 1st date, right? And then that made some news and that was reported on. And so we appreciate everyone watching this. I think right now anything's a possibility. And we have to keep everything on the table. Texas, I've been pointing to May 1st as sort of a time that we really need to see where we are. And so there's a lot of great data points out there regarding where we are as a region, as a Brazos Valley, as a state of Texas. So right now, anything's possible. We haven't been given any sort of clearance. We still have May 31st as the SEC prohibition on any activity, in-person activity. And so we have to determine what happens on June 1st. And we haven't got quite to that point yet. So right now, every possibility is on the table. We have to follow all the guidelines that are out there. We have to follow our phase-in program within our state. The NCAA just came out with core principles, and we'll look at that and really kind of blend, those principles with the local plans that are in place. And, we know that our student athletes are chomping at the bit to get back to camp. But many of them are already here in town, but not being able to come to our facilities, not being able to come to campus. So we want to go as smart as possible, but as quickly as possible, with the health and safety being first and foremost. So we just don't have that exact timeline yet. And all those things are evolving, and let's see how this May 1st reopening goes here in Texas, and then we'll have more information and make those decisions.
Ross, can you give us an exact date of the football uniform unveiling?
I wish. Part of one of the challenges with the COVID-19 is we were going to unveil them at the spring game. Well, obviously we didn't have a spring game. We just had a cook-off. We had Terry Price's cook-off instead. That wasn't a date. You don't want to wear uniforms when you're eating a lot of meat. So we couldn't do that. Right now there's a little bit of a challenge with sort of that supply chain. And we're trying to get an exact timeline on when we can have, some samples here. We can model them. So we don't have an exact timeline yet. It's amazing how many people ask me about it. Hey, when are they coming in? What's the date? I keep asking our folks. And right now it's kind of up in the air, depending on sort of the supply chain timelines that we don't really have control over. COVID-19 was some impact on it. These are made overseas. The uniforms are made overseas. So we can imagine, all the challenges, but we're optimistic. We're hopeful. We know we'll have something, and we're working on some plans. So it's basically stay tuned, to be determined. How about that for a short, long answer?
It was as exact as you could get.
Good dance around, I got to say. Hey,
Exactly.
as people are sequestered, you get back to old topics that didn't frustrate you as badly, but now that we're all going through the COVID situation, Ross, it's come up again about the old UT rivalry, wanting to play the school about 100 miles from here. Talk about where your mindset is and what you're thinking about that ball game. Has it been a priority for you throughout this COVID thing?
Yeah. To answer that specific question, no, it hasn't been a priority. And it hasn't really been a priority since I got here, last July the 8th when I started this job. But I've got a lot of questions about it, not from Aggies at all. Aggies are like, let's move on. We have moved on a long time ago. So I get it mainly in the social media space. I get it from the media who cover college football and cover the state of Texas. But really for the Aggies, it's not a topic. It really isn't. So, there was some banter on Twitter yesterday. I decided to reply this morning. And I think people, look, you can't take Twitter's not real life. I hope people realize that. Twitter's not real life. It's a great tool to promote things, but it's just fantasy land sometimes. And so I decided to reply and have a little fun. We've got to have fun with this. You've got to be able to laugh at yourself. And so I use the word sites, S-I-T-E-S, instead of sight, meaning eyesight. And I'm not sure a lot of people picked up on that, but we had a little fun. And we can have fun on Twitter. It's not real life, but that topic is in the past, and we've moved on. And there's a lot of ground to cover moving forward. And let's make it a championship game matchup in the national championship game. I think that'd be a lot more fun.
That'd be great for the state of Texas. Anyway, so we'll look forward to that. Guys, if you want to take us through one more time, Will, Andrew, folks can submit these questions for our weekly town hall. They're always interesting, and how do they go about doing that?
Well, you can go to
12man.com/Ask Ross. That's on the website. That's how you can do it. That is how we can aggregate all these questions. Will?
Also on Twitter, Ross will usually send out a weekend tweet leading up to the Monday in which we have the town hall. Simply reply to him using the hashtag #AskRoss.
All right, very good. Ross Bjork, thanks for joining us. Anything in wrapping up before we continue with week 8 of all of this?
Well, I was just going to say it's a big week. It's finals week here at Texas A&M, and we also have our BCA show on Wednesday night on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central Time, where we celebrate all the student athlete achievements and hand out a bunch of awards. And we tried to get like Chris Fowler or Kirk Herbstreit as the host this year, or a big time, media personality, and they got me instead. So I'm not sure what happened with that. Maybe just because I'm the new guy, I'm still new enough where they can have me on there. But please stay tuned to that. That'll be a lot of fun as we celebrate our student athletes.
I will say this show is full of surprises. There's been a lot of work put into it, and it's going to be worth your time if you'll tune in tomorrow for that for the live broadcast of that we will have online. Guys, thanks so much for joining us as always. Our town hall each week, the Aggie Town Hall, presented by CHI St. Joseph Health, the official healthcare provider of Texas A&M Athletics. Until next time, thanks for joining us. On behalf of Andrew Monaco, Will Johnson, Ross Bjork, I'm Mike Wright. Thanks and giggle.
Giggle.